Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon you, and welcome to another fresh episode of Ramadan TV. This blessed month is full of excitement. On today's show, we are visiting one of the local GPs to find out a bit about how beneficial is Ramadan to our health and our body. Let's go and find out a bit more about this important topic. On today's show, we are visiting one of the local GPs, and I'm here with Dr. Azmi and Dr. Nazri. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Doctor, Ramadan, it's a blessed month. It's a blessed month that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed for us to fast for 30 days. Now, we know without any doubt that there is benefits in it. What we would like to know on today's show is to find out the benefit of fasting to the body. If we can get some examples and some kind of really points about how the fasting benefits the body, that would be great.
Assalamu alaikum. I mean, for me, the Ramadan, as you say, is a blessing month. It's for me, Ramadan is like a gift experience for us to, first of all, discipline our body, and second one is self-restraint, and third one is to be aware of the less privilege in the community. All right? I mean, there are so many benefit of the benefit in terms of health to the populations. I mean, the most obvious is one is that reduce weight. I mean, we know that in our cultures now, there's so many diet pills, there's so many obesities, and a lot of people trying to diet, etc. There's a lot of studies also shows during the fasting month they are on average a lot of people lose weight. I would suggest those who are watching Ramadan TV, measure your weight today, and then by end of the Ramadan and measure it again, and that will, I'm pretty sure that will shows that we are losing weight, and that's pretty much just help to reduce a lot of other health issue that associated with weight.
Dr. Nazri, maybe the next question you might be able to answer. Ramadan, like what the Dr. Azmi said, it's proven that you're supposed to really detox your body and benefit from this month, and really it's a good training course for your body. In terms of losing weight, we know that there's evidence that you definitely can lose weight. Can the eating food in terms of times of suhoor and iftar play a big role in terms of really looking after your body during this blessed month?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yes, as a gastroenterologist, I see lots of different conditions that's pertaining to abdominal symptoms that people get with fasting. Most of the time, it's related to improper way of eating, either being during iftar or during suhoor itself. Now, as mentioned earlier, because Ramadan, it should be seen as a blessing for us to try to reduce our caloric intake in general, because the best way to fast is actually to try to reduce your intake by approximately 30% of what you usually take on a normal daily basis. Hence, after a prolonged day of fasting, the best way to try and recommence the eating state would be to try and supplement some of the energy that has been depleted throughout the course of the fasting day. And the best way of doing so is by simply breaking fast by taking simple sugars, the best being the dates or kurma, as prescribed by our Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The benefit of kurma is multiplex, because not only does it fulfill you by increasing the blood sugar levels, but it also does so by a smaller quantity. This is one of the biggest mistakes that our community tend to go into, is that people tend to indulge in too much food when they're breaking fast, as everyone would know. And obviously this is a wrong thing to do. Some of the problems that can come out during or after iftar is mainly largely to do with the quantity and the quality of food that we consume. So I would suggest that to break fast, it's probably best to try to eat smaller amounts, eat it slowly, and eating the right food as well. So basically things like the dates, a bit of water, milk, or a bit of bread would be very beneficial. And eat it slowly and don't fill yourself to the brim. Just to the point where you have enough. Then take your time, perhaps pray Salatul Maghrib afterwards, then come back and eat a bit more. So basically eating smaller quantities at a time. This is also in accordance to one of the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, which mentioned that one of the worst things that we can do for our body is to fill the stomach up to the upper level. We should always try to eat slowly and to fill at least 1/3 with food, 1/3 with water, and perhaps 1/3 with gas.
Subhanallah. It's very important what you're mentioning, because in doing that you're kind of having a good balance in terms of covering a bit of everything, so your body really gets enough of everything. Hence, on the other hand, Dr. Azmi, some people may think that, hold on a second, I haven't been eating for the whole day, so my body needs it. I need to stuff my face up. I need to eat. So how does that really affect the body if somebody goes in and eats too much, just enough, and then to a stage or to a level where he's basically saying, I've had enough, he's quite full. Can that be harmful to the body?
Yes. I mean, I normally, with a lot of my patients, I'll try to visualize what actually happened. Right? Let's say this is your stomach. I mean, the stomach actually much smaller than this.
Yes.
Much smaller than this.
Subhanallah.
I mean, the other thing as well, the stomach actually is elastic. So it can become bigger 10 times. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you are fasting, so basically the stomach is empty. It just goes a little bit smaller than this. So if I let the air out, it goes a little bit slower.
Yes.
Now, when you try to fill the stomach, the digestions, whatever you eat, will fill up, and the stomach will just become bigger and bigger and bigger. The absorption, everything doesn't happen in the stomach. Absorption need to what the stomach does is, when you eat, you will try to churn with producing the acid, depending on what other things that you're putting in your stomach. That's why what Nazri was mentioning is that when you break the fast, you want something that release very quickly. So for example, the dates, when you eat the dates, it will digest it very, very quickly, because you have a very carbohydrate, glucose, fibers, and very easy to go through to the small intestine where the absorption happen. So you get a very good raise of your blood sugar, so you become more fresh. For example, if somebody eating a steak, for example, when they break fast, it goes to your stomach, it will take much longer time for it to process, because what happened, you need to have all the enzyme to digest the protein. So it takes much longer for the blood glucose to be raised, for them to be fresher. So if, for example, you eat something that very protein, very high for the stomach to digest, what happens is that it takes longer for the digestion system to work. You feel very tired because all your energy is putting in the stomach to digest all these things, going to the small intestine before being absorbed.
Can you give us some example of some of the foods that you believe it will be the healthy program or healthy type of food for any fasting person to really, we know to start up, it's definitely been mentioned that, and it's from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, to break your fast with dates, which is very important, and it's proven that it's healthy. Now, we know dates are not going to fill up the stomach, especially nowadays. People, when they're fasting, they want to eat everything.
Yes.
Can you give us some example of some of the foods that
Yes.
after breaking their fast with dates,
Yes.
should they eat straight away, or like what brother said, the doctor said they should eat a little bit, pray, and what kind of food should they eat after, and how much proportion should they eat that we can consider being a healthy food?
Yeah, I mean, to answer that, I'll probably explain. There are mainly two type of food that I will explain. Like first one is the food that release the energy very fast, and the second type of food that release the energy being released a bit more slower. And what effect, depending on the gastric emptying. So how long does that stomach take to digest that, so that the energy being released slowly? A lot of time when we break fast, we want something that like a dates, what Dr. Nazri was saying, that we release the energy very quickly, you feel fresh, and you do the salat or maghrib, and then you sit down for a proper meal, like a complex carbohydrate, and always supplement with the fruits because of the high fiber.
Lots of fluid.
Lot of fluids. And during the iftar time, when you want to fast, you want that food to be staying in your stomach for longer time. You don't want the food just goes through your intestine, you feel hungry very quickly. So you want some food that very, very high, for example, complex carbohydrate. So that it stays in the stomach for a long time, so that the stomach going to digest slowly and release that the bunch of this process material to the small intestine to be absorbed by the body, and so you got the continuous of the energy throughout the day.
When the stomach is empty, where does the body get, for example, if we eat something, or some people may miss a suhoor, where does the body get its energy from? Is it getting from the fat of the body, or is it getting from somewhere? How does that work? Or is it harmful?
Thank you, Brother Ali. When we fasting, we don't need to overeat. Because first of all, because that means the purpose of the Ramadan is to self-restrain. And the second one is our body have auto-regulation. A lot of times when we are fasting, the body metabolism goes down, and the body will utilize the fat, other ways of energy productions, to maintain the normal function of the body.
Yes.
Plus, a lot of time during Ramadan, all of us cut down a lot of our activities anyway. A lot of time we don't do a lot of exercise or strenuous activity, so we don't need that much energy when we're breaking fast, or we don't need to overcome with everything that we're missing out throughout the day, replace that during the breaking fast. So amount of food that we need to eat during the breaking fast is much less than what a lot of people think.
And in terms of your body when it's empty, is it, you're fasting for a whole day, is it really affecting your body, or could this be turned to something that's actually positive, that your body is going, that doesn't have much in there?
It's actually a lot of positive happening, because at this time where there is a lot of fat being utilized, so a lot of people finding they're losing a lot of weight and their cholesterol coming down, which is beneficial for their cardiovascular risk factors. And a lot of time there is a lot of what people call as detoxification happening as well. So a lot of materials there's a body use a different pathway to generate energy.
That's really, really important point to really cover, that turning the negative side, where people thinking, look, I'm hungry, I'm actually I'm kind of affecting my body, but in fact of what you explained to us is actually really good. This is a detox process, where throughout the months you're actually clearing up all that.
Another comment I would like to make is that during the fasting period as well, this gives us a good opportunity for our gastrointestinal system to replenish itself. Because if you imagine, for more than 300 days in a year, we are constantly feeding food into our system as such, and there's hardly any time for it to actually have a rest. So this period of fasting, in actual fact, has been shown to detoxify in terms of replenishing the lining of a gastrointestinal tract, and that in fact is believed to be beneficial to the overall general health of our gastrointestinal well-being.
Doctor, in terms of the society that we live in, the Muslim society doesn't have in general, there is no problem with the alcohol addiction.
Yes.
There is no problem with the drugs addiction. We don't have that problem. But the only problem that we're facing right now in our community, that is, we have the obesity problem. Can you tell us a little bit about how we can tackle this problem that's actually arising all around the world in the Muslim community?
Yeah, I think general awareness of our well-being, or the well-being of the society, is an very important thing. In regards to trying to improve our eating habits, we should probably see the month of Ramadan as a stepping stone or a way for us to rehabilitate our body. I guess what I'm trying to say is Ramadan should not only be for Ramadan. Ramadan should be a way of ourselves to try to re-educate ourselves for the rest of the year. Not only from a religious point of view, but also in terms of taking care of ourselves, which is in an ibadah on its own. The best time to do it should be in Ramadan, because that is the time when we have the opportunity to try to cut down all of our intake as such. So even though we are sort of primed to eat all this unhealthy food because of our culture, I think we should try to make a paradigm shift in regards to this. And I suppose the tactic of doing that is very individualized, and it's very difficult to try and re-educate someone in regards to that. So education is very important. As I have mentioned earlier, quantity has lots to do with it. Not only the quality, but quantity of what we are taking. We should always try to reduce whatever we take first to begin with, then afterwards try to look at what it is that we are eating and try to alter that accordingly.
And I guess, it's what you're mentioning to us is really important fact that we, as human being, as Muslim being in this blessed month, really to take advantage of this month.
Yes.
And what you've mentioned as well, the things that we also, it's very important to look at, like what you mentioned, the food and the quantity that we take. Jazakumullah khair. It's been a pleasure speaking with you guys and spending this amazing time with you guys to benefit from your knowledge. Jazakumullah khair, and I hope you have the remaining blessed month of this month of Ramadan. Jazakumullah khair. Inshallah see you soon. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.